situated here.
Situated. It's a situation for sure.
Hello, and welcome to the Modern Skein podcast.
Bonus Christmas episode.
Have a meowy Christmas.
Okay, I have to stand.
You're kind of in reddish.
I went with the Christmassy color theme.
Yes.
Okay. Should I?
Well, I was going to say who we are.
Oh. Oh, that might be important. Okay,
maybe.
Start off. I'm just trying to jump ahead. I think I only had that half a cup of coffee. Maybe that's my problem.
That's your problem.
I didn't have enough
more.
caffeine.
My name is Sharon and I'm the owner of the Modern Skein, which is a yarn shop here in Cotton Row, Texas.
And I'm Cathie, and I am the yarn whisperer here at the Modern Skein. That's why I've christened myself based on some recent escapades that I've had to untangle, unravel, and various other things. So
Various sundries.
So that's my title for this week.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, so Sharon, what are you wearing?
I am wearing I think this came maybe from one of two places that I buy Christmas attire. Well, I used to buy, because this is very old. It's either from TJ Maxx ages ago or Target ages ago.
Target usually has a lot of good, fun Christmassy things.
And it even looks like
Like
Surrey.
that meowy Christmas. Yes, it does look like Surrey. We might have to get her a red nose. I'm sure she'd be thrilled with that.
So much so. So
Yeah.
not knitwear. I was
Not
wearing
knitwear.
sweaters yesterday. It was cold yesterday.
Well, it was cold this morning, but our temperature, the forecast is like this.
Yeah.
So by the time we finish this podcast, it's going to probably increase by 10 degrees.
Probably.
So, but I wore y'all have seen the cardigan before. This is the potato vodka, almost forgot the name, by Thea Coleman, which I knit in Red Stag Fiber, Yorkshire Sport, and Brick Tavern, and Spincycle, Ghost Ranch?
Nope, not Ghost Ranch.
Castaway?
I think it is, because
Was it that strange?
it was a strange
color?
batch. I think it's a strange batch of Castaway.
I think it is too. Anyway, that is my cardigan, and underneath that I have, of course, a tee. Pretty much a basic raglan short sleeve for our weather, so that means I can take the cardigan off before too long. And I put a fun little panel in it this is all cottage sock from Red Stag Fiber, by the way. The main body is in Mowry, Firth. And then I did some cute little sort of pretend argyle panel in the middle using Brick Tavern and bagpipes. All three of these colors came out in the winter of 2023
Oh, gosh.
or 24.
A while ago. No, it wasn't 24. It's got to be 23.
Has it been that long?
It's got to have been that long.
Whatever. Anyway, so it was kind of to showcase all of the three colors, and I think they work very well together.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives a little bit of Christmassy vibe. So I'm calling it Christmas.
It is. I mean, it's your tones with
Of
the
course.
teal,
Of
but
course.
it's still Christmassy.
Yeah. So there we are.
Well,
I do have on my Christmas tree
earrings.
So
I don't have Christmas tree earrings.
well, this is probably my only piece of Christmas jewelry, other than some things that were made by my grandkids about 20-something years ago, and I will occasionally throw those on, but they're more whimsical, shall we say.
Yeah.
Because, kindergartners and those,
Oh, yeah.
those let's take home to mom presents. Okay, so knitting.
Knitting. That's what we are. We're a knitting podcast.
Do you have any FOs?
No.
Oh, good. Neither
No.
do I.
This is a finished object-less podcast.
Yes.
And that's okay.
And that's fine.
It is totally.
It
It's,
is.
as Stephen West would say, embrace. It's not a race. Embrace your pace. So, that being said, we did have a little bit of free time and still wanted to jump on and give you one bonus little episode before the Christmas and New Year holidays. We will be taking a little bit of time off you're going way out and traveling.
I'm going way out west.
And I'm not going that far, but still visiting family and all the things.
Right.
So we're taking a little bit of a holiday break, and we will reconvene after the new year for the YouTube episodes. But we wanted to give you just a little bit of what we're working on and what we're maybe thinking about casting, because I like a tradition of casting on a new project at Christmas time.
Okay.
I do. Do I have any business casting on? No.
Totally irrelevant.
Completely irrelevant, but it's fine. And I also wanted to touch a little bit on, I know we talked about last week's episode about like losing some knitting mojo, and
Right.
we were kind of easing our way back into it. And I won't say that I've like fully gotten my knitting mojo back, but I have kind of with this new cast on that I'm going to share
Okay.
a
Well,
little bit.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to interrupt your
No,
flow
no,
here, but when we're
interrupt.
talking about knitting mojo, for whatever reason, heaven knows this doesn't happen often, I suddenly became a monogamous knitter, and I have only knit on one project since the
Wow.
last podcast.
That's
Well, okay, that may be fudging it a little bit because I've swatched for some things, and I've kind of tested some yarn combinations, and I've done a little bit of that kind of thing. But I haven't worked on but one project.
See, I don't count swatching or experimenting with yarn when it's not like an actual cast on project. If you're just, let me put a few stitches on the needle and play around with it, see if I like it, that's not a project.
No, I mean,
So that doesn't
it's
count
sort of
towards
that
your...
it's a overall project in and of itself, but it's not anything like, oh, look at this, oh, look at this,
You're-
oh, I'm going to continue this, I'm going to continue that.
Yeah.
No, it's experimenting.
Yeah.
And
You're not going to like bind it off and be like, ta-da, here's my finished object, of,
although, again, to quote Stephen West,
You could.
hang these little things in your yarn. No, I'm sorry, I'm not. First of all, I'm too stingy, and I'm just going to use the word in its true meaning, because 9 times out of 10, after I do those kind of experimental swatches, I make notes.
Mm-hmm.
I decide what I liked, what I didn't like, because I don't like to repeat the same thing, especially if I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to repeat it if I did. So I rip them back out because I'm not wasting that yarn.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing wrong with this yarn.
Yeah.
Nope, not happening. And I live in a small apartment. I don't need yarn swatches hanging all over the
Yeah.
place.
I mean, no. My craft room probably doesn't look like a craft room because there is no yarn throw up anywhere. But
Which is probably a good thing.
I like to pretend that I'm a minimalist. And I say pretend because
Okay, well,
you
first
know,
of all, minimalism is a journey, not a finished object. Okay,
Yes.
since we have no finished objects,
that's
that
true.
falls right into the same category.
I really like this podcaster that I listen to. Her name is Christina Mijas, and she has, I don't know if it's actually her channel name, but she calls herself minimalist-ish.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of takes the pressure off of being a minimalist. Like, she's like, certain things I'm absolutely hardcore, we only need one of those. And
Right,
then other
right.
things, like she really still likes her clothes. Now she lives in a really small apartment, so she has to keep them very edited. But she's like, I'm not going to just own 3 black t-shirts.
Correct.
I'm going to have
Correct.
the wardrobe that I want, and things like that. So I'm minimalist-ish. And I'm like, love that. So, yes.
Yes.
As this has turned into a minimalism podcast, completely the opposite of what I try
Embrace
to sell.
it. I funnel categorize my minimalism. Okay.
Don't be a minimalist with your
I
yarn.
I have 6 forks. I used to have 6 knives. We were just talking about I'm missing one. Because I live alone,
Yeah.
and I don't entertain anymore, and that gives me enough that okay, well, I'm in the middle of doing something. I need a clean one,
Yeah, you still have
without over. But we're not going to get into some other areas of my life where I'm probably a little bit excessive. So it's all good. It's your own journey.
It is.
And I still kind of like the knitting police. I still haven't seen the minimalism police come
That's
around to
true.
say, let's count your shirts.
That is true. Oh.
So, but you're excited about your new cast on.
I am. Okay.
So I don't want to take away from that because it's looking so good.
Okay, so You will have seen an iteration of this before because I have cast this sweater on. I think this may be technically the 6th time.
Oh, I was going to say probably 4.
Well, I know for sure I did 4 with the other yarn that I ended up realizing was the wrong yarn for the project.
Okay.
Great yarn, not for this.
Right.
But then I tried it a couple other times with a few other yarns, and it just didn't work. So, it is a cardigan. This is the Seasons cardigan, right? Yeah, Seasons cardigan by Ozetta. This is, okay.
Oh, let's talk about the yarn, because it was an adventure.
Yes, it was an adventure. We're going to talk about the yarn in a hot second. It is Yorkshire DK. You will note, if you look at the pattern, she explicitly calls for a worsted weight. And lists a worsted weight gauge.
Okay.
Honestly, because, well, ish.
This is the ish podcast.
So I believe because I've looked at this about 15 million times, I'm pretty sure it's 17 stitches in the half fisherman's rib pattern.
Okay.
Stitch pattern, which 16 we kind of consider to be a worsted Aran right on the nose. So 17, I mean, you're just one off.
Right.
But, okay, this is where maybe I'm a little too, I don't even know what you'd call it.
Particular.
Particular would be a word. I like the look of the modeled sweater. And what I mean by that is if you're hearing sniffing noises right now, Surrey
Somebody is
sniffing
coming to
the
investigate.
microphone.
She says,
funny.
nah, it's not edible.
It's
I'm
not.
leaving.
And you can see a tail. Okay, back to this. I like the look. So it appears from the photographs to be a drapey, not a structured cardigan.
This is much structured.
Yes.
I mean, this has got a lot of structure to it. It is not a loose drapey intentionally.
Correct. And this cardigan, if you look at her photos, it's kind of not hanging in a bad way, but it's just like snuggly,
Flowy.
slouchy, flowy. It's all of those cozy little terms. And so the yarn she used, I can't remember. I think it's been discontinued or something like that. So I can't find that yarn to like, oh, it really is. Because, okay, soapbox here. Not everyone, especially in the States, calls yarn weights by the proper name.
True.
And that
True.
it didn't used to bother me, but it bothers me a lot lately. And I think that's a me issue, honestly. But it does make it hard, I feel, for especially newer crafters that they see a pattern, they see worsted weight, and so then they go buy worsted weight, and then they're like, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look like hers.
Right.
When you bought a worsted weight that's really more of an Aran, which is slightly thicker,
Right.
and the worsted weight that they used is really a DK, and it's like,
Well, and then you throw in the twist of the yarn and
Is
the
it a
plying of
superwash?
the yarn
Is it
and
not?
the superwash, non-superwash function. I mean, you can get
You
much
can get in the
variation.
weeds. Now, to all of you brand new knitters that have just shuddered at the thought of more things to learn when you're struggling to figure out your knits and your purls, don't let this overwhelm you. Ignore everything that I just said and knit and learn and embrace everything.
The experimental process,
Yes.
just like I was talking with the swatches.
It is. And when you have an issue, if you are near either us or a local yarn shop, 9 times out of 10, I say that because there's an odd, weird one out there for sure. But 9 times out of 10, the people that work there or the people gathered around their table or the owner is more than happy to give you a monologue on all the different things that you could really get down into the weeds about. But back to this. So I was experimenting with all sorts of different weights of yarn. DKs, worsted, DKs held with mohairs, DK held with surreys. all sorts of things. And then I finally swatched with just some plain Yorkshire DK. And I was like, the fabric is the drapiness that I'm looking for. The stitch gauge when I block it out is exactly on point. This is perfection. Except I didn't like the color.
Because, we can't be happy just meeting one of our goals. We have to meet them all at once.
We do. And I had this envision in my head of a like deep chestnutty cardigan.
Okay.
And my husband, who happens to be the dyer for Red Stake Fiber, actually has, it was my wedding gift to him, a leather messenger laptop bag.
Yes.
And it's now over 10 years old and just got that dark patina and just getting all, because he beats it up and takes it everywhere. And
you're going to laugh, but when this was first explained to me, not by you,
Uh-huh.
but by Josh, I said, oh, so she wants kind of like a worn saddle.
yeah.
He's like, well, I don't know. But, coming from a writing family,
Yes.
Immediately that was what came to my mind.
Yes.
And then you showed me a picture, and I thought,
did.
I'm kind of on track
Yeah.
here. Okay.
So I was showing Josh, and I was like, it's like antique leather, but darker. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, we could do that. And now Cathie's laughing because
I love his optimism. I love his optimism.
this ended up taking, 2 weeks for you guys to figure out?
Well,
lag time and everything, but
yeah, there was some, some wait time in
Yeah.
between that. Yes, but I was to the point of, if this one doesn't work, we're just going to have to sort of reinvent the whole thing and start over.
okay, so this is what antique leather looks like normally.
Which is a beautiful color.
Gorgeous.
If you
Just not
watched
what I
the last
wanted.
episode, my Echo Tea, love it.
I
It's
already
great.
have a couple sweaters in antique leather.
Right.
It's so good. Now, I will say, for everyone else who just went, oh, I must have it. I think Josh would possibly have a heart attack
Right.
if I asked him to recreate this for the masses, because it was such
Very labor intensive. I'm just going to say,
Lord,
can't give away company secrets, but
No.
let's just say it was very labor intensive.
I think when I walked in and saw it drying, and I was like, okay, yes, it's that. I think there was a collective, oh, thank God.
I know that it came from me.
Because, I just heard, it's like, it's just not getting darker, and just all the things. So anyway, this will be a one-of-a-kind sweater. And I apologize, but I love it. It's so good. Oh, I love it. So, I don't know what else to say other than I love it, because I do. And I've been knitting on it.
Let's talk about something that you've got going on here, because I think this is something else that might be useful for somebody.
Okay, so let's look at this here. So you'll notice I've got not one, not two, but 3 pairs of circular needles on my project. So this project has a as you go, it's not applied, attached as you go button band.
And it appears to be a double knit.
No,
It's not a
just-
double knit. It's
no,
just a ribbing.
ribbing.
Okay,
But
I see that now.
The pattern says for you to have a DPN for these, 10 stitches or whatever here,
Right.
and then your regular knitting needle for the body, and then a button band again, another DPN. So,
And the DPNs are smaller size, I'm assuming.
yes,
So that you get that
quite a bit smaller.
needle adjustment in ribbing that normally a lot of patterns call for you to go down a
Yeah.
needle size or two.
And you
or
can see
something for that.
it just makes it fit nicely and not be like flared out
Yes.
or anything like
Yes.
that. The only reason I've got circulars here and I've just got 12-inch circs is because I don't have DPNs.
I know.
I don't.
Yeah.
I have over the years, and I guess my last purge, I got rid of all of them. I was this close to coming up here and just taking a DPN.
Probably wouldn't.
I think we have the size, but
probably so. But I'm just thinking you probably wouldn't have been happy with that.
Exactly.
Because there's a reason why you don't have DPNs.
Because I think they're fiddly and I don't like them. Now, I'm not saying this isn't fiddly, and there is many a time that I just in my head, it's like, well, I could just make it work. No, you can't make it work. You can't just knit tighter. It doesn't work that way.
No.
So, it is a little fiddly, but the end goal is
But I love the idea, and for some reason, this never occurred to me. And I don't know why. Now, let's talk about DPNs for a minute, because for years I used DPNs for any of my small circumference stuff. We're talking socks, we're talking mittens, we're talking sleeve cuffs, we're talking all the top of the hats. You know, if you do it bottom up and then you have to get to that very small circumference. I use DPNs. I am very comfortable using DPNs. Here's my problem with DPNs. I tend to, when I take that last stitch off of one of the needles, I tend to fling it across the room or drop it down between the sofa cushions or on the floor where it rolls. And that is my biggest issue with DPNs, is my own, let's call it fumbleitis, okay? So for you DPN lovers out there, we're not shaming.
Oh, no.
We're just trying to point out that sometimes you think there's only one way to do something, but there might be another.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's my project. I'm getting very close to separating for sleeves. And I am going to go ahead and put in the buttons. There's because you get to a certain point and then it's like, and now if you're going to put buttons, you start your button holes.
Yeah, you've got to do the buttonholes. I've got lots of cardigans with buttonholes and no buttons on them because I either couldn't find a button I liked, or I just decided, you know what, I'm never going to wear this one buttoned up. I don't really need to have buttons on it.
Yeah.
But the buttonholes are there and they don't detract. I mean, they don't, somebody's going to say, oh, you've lost all your buttons. Well, I probably lost all my marbles, but I don't think I've lost all my buttons. So you know, to me, it never hurts if you're unsure. Go ahead and put those buttonholes in, and then if you decide you don't want buttons, okay, fine.
It's not a big deal. Yeah. You want to talk about yours?
Oh, can I say something about the reverse of that, too, though?
No.
If wait a minute. What? You said no? No. Somebody told me no? Let's talk about the reverse of that. Let's say that you didn't think you wanted buttons because you knew you weren't going to wear it buttoned up, so you didn't do the buttonholes. And then later you think, well, you know, those little buttons would be really cute on here, even though I'm not going to button them. Go ahead and put those buttons on. Don't use them. They're decorative now instead of functional. And that's fine too. Don't you think, Suri?
Hi.
Say, yes, I agree. Don't tell me no.
She's like, do I have to?
Well, I'm very impressed, especially since I know when you picked the yarn up and started on that. So I think you've made great progress, and I think it looks fantastic. I'm really excited. Now I feel like all the effort was worth it, which sometimes I wonder.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the only project I have worked on since the podcast, other than that swatching that I talked about, is my Firth sweater. And it's on a little bit, it is a fun word. It is got a little bit of a stitch holder tube on the bottom ribbing because I tried it on last night right before I went to bed to see about the length. So it looks a little wonky on the bottom. But sleeves are done.
Wow.
A little bit of Sharon fringe hanging off there because I haven't woven in the ends yet. And I've got about, I'm going to do about another, it calls for a 3-inch, and I think I'm going to do the full 3.
Okay.
So I've got maybe about another inch or 3/4 of an inch on the bottom ribbing, and then pick up for the collar, and this one will be done.
Wow.
But look at this. Now, understand it's not blocked.
Yeah.
But look at the detail. Show the detail there that goes, it comes down the front and comes down the side and kind of joins between the front and the back, and I just really think that's a nice little detail.
Yeah. And once that's blocked, it's going to pop so much.
Oh, I think so too. I am extremely happy with it. So this is really the only project I've put any time in on. I have not knit a stitch on my Bonnie.
Okay.
I I can't remember if I had done a little bit on the sleeves of the Cathie cardigan, because I know I talked about
picking up and
being off on
yeah.
my short rows. I did go back and re-pick those up, and I'm balanced.
Okay.
So, but I mean,
But that's it.
it's this much of a sleeve,
Yeah.
so not nothing to show. I didn't even bring it with me.
Well,
But I've just been jauntily knitting away.
Speaking
Combined with all the holiday preparations
Yes.
and things and other distractions in life.
you said jaunty.
I
And
did
that-
say jaunty.
And that leads perfectly into this, because it's the only other thing I've been working on is my jaunty.
And
by
you started the
Isabel Kramer.
decreases.
Yep, you started the decreases. So, and I officially started my last. There's my thing. So,
Okay.
each end is a ball of yarn. So I started my
I'm
last
really liking that.
ball. Yeah, it's been fun.
And I think in the standard blues, I really like that. I like that effect. It's
Yeah.
gonna look. It's
it's
gonna
gonna
look
be
great.
so fun. So
Just
again,
may have to do this. I'm still trying to come up with a project to take with me on my trip, because
this is nice because it's mindless without being.
that's what
stockinette,
That's
you
what
know?
I'm thinking. I want something that I can sit and talk and have a conversation with, and not care if I have to put it down and pick it up and put it down and pick it up.
And the nice thing about this one is you don't have to use Spincycle if you don't want to. She pretty much gives you stitch counts and or like rough guidelines for yardages if you're going to do it in DK, sport, fingering, worsted.
Right.
It's very
Adaptable.
I think we've been podcasting a little
Oh, yeah, we might have.
Just a little bit,
Have,
so
but I really, really like that. And now I've got. I may consider this as my travel project.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, it would look good as like almost like scrappy if you just put together a whole bunch of different scraps. It would
But
look
I'm
good.
thinking I've got some.
It looked good in
I've
a
got
variegated.
some sport, and I've got some Spincycle
Or you could stripe it.
that I think might kind of work together.
You could almost treat it like, because this is the same stitch pattern as inclinations, and that you do 2 rows of Spincycle, 2 rows of either a Spincycle or another one. You could almost do that same row repeat
Yes.
for
yes.
that in here, rather than just using all the same yarn. If you wanted to use multiple, you could do all sorts of things with this, and it's a nice size too. It's it's going to be enough that you can
big
wrap
enough
around.
to make a cozy neck wrap, like a cowl, but not so big that it's like, do I really want to lug this big thing wherever?
Well, and it's like I'm going somewhere really cold in January, and this is going to be perfect to tuck up in my coat.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And that half fisherman's rib makes it so squishy, and it traps the air and insulates, and it's not heavy. So you don't
Exactly.
feel like your neck's bent down like this, trying to keep yourself warm. Although sometimes I'm kind of like huddled. I know that my shoulders go up around my ears sometimes just at the thought of the cold. And Connie quit laughing because it's been cold these
It
last few
has.
mornings. I don't care what you say.
Connie is from the actual cold and lived in Alaska as well, so
Right.
she's like, this is like cold.
Right. What's wrong with you? I tell you, someday I want to just hand her Thumper and his leash at 6:30 in the morning and say, you go out for half an hour or 45 minutes and don't move faster than a snail's pace, although for Connie that probably wouldn't be much of a challenge. No, I'm just kidding. And see how cold you get, and the wind's blowing off the retaining pond, so it's like being on a lakefront, and all the things. And I come from the desert.
Oh, goodness. So, any plans to cast on?
Well,
For Christmas?
I do have one plan, and this will go with me as well. I don't know. I don't know how much attention it's going to require at the moment, and that's kind of why I wanted a backup project.
Yeah.
But I'm going to participate in the 12 Days of Knitmas with
Okay.
Nomadic Knits.
Okay.
And so I know she has some kits on her website, but I will show you what I'm thinking, and then you can ooh ah or tell me I'm making a big mistake, and I may listen to you, and I may not.
Yeah.
Because that's me. So I've got some Red Stag Fiber Cottage Minis because it calls her prerequisites call for 4 mini skeins. Of course,
Ooh,
you
I
could
like
use
that
leftovers, but I've only wound one of them up, and I don't do a really good job of hand winding anymore. So these are my 4 sort of contrast colors. And I look through the kits, and that kind of gives me an idea of some colors. Ooh. So, do you know what this is? It's single ply.
It is single ply.
I don't know whose this is, but I have like 3 skeins of it. I need to look and see if I have it in Ravelry. But it's basically a light blue going to grays. So that's going to be my, quote, main color, which is 100 gram skein of fingering weight.
That's gonna be real cute.
I think it's going to be very interesting. Mm-hmm. So, and I think all of these colors will play nicely with it without getting lost.
Absolutely. I think that's gonna be real pretty.
So, that's one of my plans.
Okay. Well, I have.
What about? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
You've
go
got
ahead.
plans to cast on, and then I was going to ask you something else. So talk about your cast on plans.
My cast on plan at the moment, because I already have the yarn for it and everything, is actually Caitlin Hunter's Ovis sweater, which is the one with all the little sheep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
I love that sweater. It's so cute. And the last time we had Ritual Dyes Trunk Show in, I snagged Maven in the, I want to say pine, but I feel like that's wrong. It's the dark green.
Okay.
Maybe evergreen.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the name is. And then the light gray, which is not smoke, the one that's lighter than that. Anyway, I snagged those for this sweater. I've been crushing on dark green lately.
Okay.
And
maybe this is your dark green season.
I think so.
Could be.
I think so. So anyway, that is my thought for cast on.
Okay.
I haven't wound the yarn yet, so we'll see. And we're going to be traveling. Like I said, we're going to leave out Christmas Day, go visit family, and stay there. So I'll have to pre-wind yarn before leaving.
Well, I'm sure that can be arranged.
I think so.
I suspect.
So
what I was going to ask you was, do you have any particular knitting goals for 2026? Do you set any particular knitting goals?
To be perfectly honest, no. I don't set knitting goals. Not because I think you should or shouldn't, but I just don't end up setting knitting goals. I don't do a lot of typical resolution type stuff.
Okay.
I do kind of set, I'll say, an intention for the year, or like pick a word for the year, kind of that sort of thing. So it's like moving into 2026, maybe it's going to be more, I haven't picked it yet, but let's just say, for lack of a better word, maybe I want to focus more on being intentional, or being, I don't even know, but something like that, like an overall theme for the year is usually what I would do, versus like lose weight, drink more water,
right,
blah blah blah, learn to knit, stock a knit. I don't do like those kind of goals.
Okay.
That's just because they never work. To be perfectly honest.
Well, and I don't disagree with you there, but what I have started doing, well, I guess I've done this for the last 3 years as far as my knitting and crocheting is concerned. I try to make a list of techniques or something similar to that either I haven't tried before, or I'm not totally comfortable with and want to experiment with a little bit more. And I try to make it where it's not looming over me like, oh, you haven't done this yet, because sometimes it will take me 2 years. I pretty much use the same list and just cross things off as I've done them.
Yeah.
If you'll remember, a couple of years ago I said we were doing a cardigan knit along, and I said I'm going to do this entire cardigan continental, knitting continental, because I need to improve my skill there.
Yeah.
And I did. That didn't mean I knit continental for the whole year.
Yeah.
But I picked that one project and I said, okay, this is the one I'm going to do, and I'm going to, and that was on my list, was knit an entire project continental.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people will do, they want to do a steeked project, or learn brioche, learn half fisherman's rib, learn different bind off techniques. You know, just you can pick all sorts of different little things like that. You can just maybe, I know one lady that I watch her podcast now, I can't remember her name. This was a couple years ago. She did a thing where she wanted to set aside a certain amount of time to knit each week. She wasn't trying to I have to knit 10 minutes a day. She was like, that's not going to work for my schedule, but cumulatively I want to knit so many hours each week. And so that's kind of a cool goal, especially if you don't have any one particular thing in mind. I think that's cool. I mean, I do want to work through my whips. I will say that.
Okay.
Because I didn't count, but I want to say 16, 17, maybe a little more whips. But I have gone through them.
I know you've eliminated the ones that you know are not ever going to take place. So
the ones that I'm left with,
off the list,
I want to do.
Okay.
So my thought behind that is to basically, not that I have to finish one before I can cast on another, but I certainly am not going to be casting on two things and not working on an old one.
Okay.
And for
me, kind of finding a balance or an equilibrium that works for you to get those done.
For me, that means basically having one whip in a bag next to my chair where we sit at night, and just kind of that's the most easily accessible project to work on, then I am going to work on it.
And I think that's really interesting, because accessibility and the reverse, inaccessibility, can definitely impact how much progress you make. I figured out long ago, when I have multiple whips, that I can't, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on this one, 10 minutes on this one, 10 minutes on this one. I don't end up getting anything done because the, quote, setup process, which means getting my brain straight, figuring out where I'm at in the pattern, all of those things take up most of that time. So I've kind of done that the same way. I don't not allow myself to cast on something new, but at the same time, I have to devote some time to what I'm working. And I think that's what happened to me on this Firth sweater. Is I said, okay, well, I've got this cast on. I want to get it done. First of all, I want to wear it while it's still cold weather. And we've got a very limited winter season here, time-wise, as fast as time is flying. And so I said, I want to be able to wear it this season. So it didn't make it hard for me to concentrate on that. At the same thing, I've got a couple of other things, and I'm like, okay, those are the things the projects that I took one of them to the doctor's office. I had the 6-month thing, all this. And so I thought, okay, well, this is a good time for me to work on this. Do you know, they were so fast and efficient, I didn't get one stitch in.
Wow.
Well, how does that happen? And this time of year, I'm of course, I do make my appointments very early in the morning. I do that intentionally. But I was like, oh. So I was actually back in my car on the way home at my actual appointment time.
Wow. They were really efficient.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what to say about that. So that didn't happen, but I will still use that same kind of process. I have a pair of socks on the needles. I always have a pair of socks on the needles. I don't talk about them because I always have a pair of socks on the needles. And most of the time, unless we're doing a sock challenge or something like that, they're just plain old vanilla socks. And I'm sorry, they're not very interesting, but I like to wear them. Yeah. So I will always at least have one of those along with me. But I think I have been knitting a very long time. And at one point, I deluded myself into thinking, well, okay, I know it all now. No. And if you have also been knitting for quite a while and feel like you're pretty proficient, and it's like, well, I've done that. Doesn't matter whether you like it or not, It's like, I've done that, don't care for it, that's fine, move on. Or, I like that, I'll do it occasionally. So I try to kind of identify some more obscure techniques, things that are not talked about very often. So on my list for this year are two things.
Okay.
I'm going to try Japanese short rows, which I have never done.
Okay.
Okay. And jacquard ladder back color work
Yeah.
for floats.
Yep.
And just because I want to learn them.
Yeah.
Will I use them in a project? I don't know.
Yeah.
I might not. I may just practice on them with swatches or
Yeah.
whatever. But those are two things that I'm like, okay, I'm curious. How does this compare to what I do already? You know? So those are the kinds of things I kind of tend to make a list of. And then when I get bored, I can look at that list and say, okay, well, you're kind of bored. You're kind of in a funk. Grab some
Try
yarn and swatch using this technique. Swatch using this idea. Swatch using these colors together.
Well, and that's another thing. It's like if you routinely always knit patterns from the same 2 or 3 designers, you're used to their writing style, their
Yes.
pattern style, whatever.
Yes.
So a way you can branch out is trying a pattern by a different designer. And a lot of I know I do that when I get stuck in a rut and then I'll see something and I do a new designer and sometimes I'll get frustrated and I'm like, okay, yeah, but you're used to XYZ.
Right.
Stop, read it through, actually read
Can't
the words
emphasize
printed.
that enough. Read it through and then pay attention
then
to
pay
what you're
attention.
doing.
And sometimes I've come to the conclusion that it's like, okay, nice pattern. Her way of doing patterns or his way of doing patterns isn't for me, and that's fine. And then other times it's like, I really like how this pattern's like set up and written and done all this stuff. And so maybe you find a new designer that you like out of it, you know,
Right.
or I never would have thought to do your shoulders first before doing anything else or whatever the pattern
Yeah.
is, you know, and that's the fun thing about branching out. It doesn't always have to be, especially like I can sit here and I'm like, I can't think of a stitch off the top of my head. I'm not saying I know them all, but I can't think of a stitch that I haven't tried.
Okay,
Just
fair
off
enough.
of the ones
Fair
that
enough.
I know.
Although with those stitches, there are so many combinations that
Correct.
make different textures and things like that. And that's not what we're talking
No.
about. If you know how to do a dip stitch, okay, yeah, there's
Yeah.
variations on the dip stitch, but okay, well, you know, it's
Yeah.
3 instead of 2, or it's, you
Yeah.
know, some minor things, or combining that with another stitch.
Yeah.
To me, that's not as much of a challenge as a totally different way of doing something. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like pick your situation.
Yeah.
That may make you gasp, and I hope nobody choked on their beverage.
Yes. And maybe you're a newer knitter and so you're wanting to, or crocheter, and you're wanting to branch out and it's like maybe do your first garment or do maybe you've just done hats, you know, and now you
Right.
want to try a cowl or something like that. And don't get intimidated. Don't let other people scare you into
Right.
thinking, well, you don't know enough to do that.
And let me add to that, I think also, don't be afraid to ask questions, because I can't even tell you how many times someone has come in the shop and said, is this really what they mean? Because they've never knit through the back loop before,
Yeah.
or they've never purled through the back loop before. And it's like, so how do you do that?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, wonderful YouTube videos.
Oh, sure.
There are all kinds of instruction. But when all else fails, find another knitter to say, oh, well, here's how you do that. And a lot of times that's all it takes is like, oh, well, that seems so simple. It looks so difficult.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to ask for help. Do you know, Sharon, honestly, I was looking at some of my journaling notes from about, I don't remember if this was 5 or 6 years ago. I was knitting my first I-cord.
Yeah.
I'd never done an I-cord before. Now, I'd done it with those little spool things, you know,
Yeah.
that the kids do, you know, in the hobby shops, the little spools that had a little nail sticking up. And
Yeah.
I'd done that,
Yeah.
so I kind of had the basic concept of a cord. But I'd never done an I-cord edging. So I laugh now, my notes is like, okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this.
Yeah.
And now I think I could do an I-cord edging in my sleep.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to do it in my sleep had I not attempted it in the first place.
I will say, after having the shop around for 8 years now and seeing the people that are new knitters that either take our beginning knitting classes or that just learn on their own and come in, the ones that I'll say flourish are the ones that aren't either afraid or they don't know that they're not supposed to know how to do that yet. And so it's like, well, I knit my first hat. Okay, let me do Stephen West's Mystery Knit Along. Those are the kind of people that love and end up embracing knitting or crocheting to the maximum versus someone, okay, I just need to knit another hat first. Well, I just need to knit another hat. And I'm not calling you out either. But it's like, yes, practice makes perfect. I will give you that.
100%.
But you also need to have a little diversity and try new things. And you're going to drop stitches. You're going to have purl bumps when you shouldn't. You're going to have a hole and you have no idea where the hole came from, how the hole happened or anything. You're
going to have a lopsided shoulder.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to put your armhole over here, when it should be over here. You're going to do weird things. It's okay. For one, it's just knitting.
Correct.
It's not rocket science and not brain surgery.
Correct.
You can rip it out. And that's the other thing. Don't be so afraid of your knitting that you can't let yourself rip it out.
Right.
Because at the end, don't think about it as, well, all my hours I've lost. Nope. That's practice.
It was good practice.
Good practice.
Yes.
So.
Is that our TED Talk?
I think that we're going to do like a short 20 minutes. We've got nothing to talk about.
Right. We have nothing to talk about. Now here we are
46 minutes in. I do want to touch on one thing because Josh has promised me he will get this uploaded before Christmas. And we started it yesterday. Okay. We have we do this almost every year. I say almost because sometimes we do it earlier in the year, but it's the end of the year.
Yes.
And we have this lovely thing in the States called taxes. And that means we have to count inventory. And as you can see, we're all thrilled with having to count inventory.
This is where we start the plea and play the music about please help save us from counting inventory.
So how you can help us is by buying our stuff.
Right.
So our laziness is going to benefit you because we have site-wide and store-wide. There are a couple exclusions, yes, but 99.9% of all the stuff in the store or on the website is 15% off. Automatic, lands in your cart.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about a code. You don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. Help small businesses out this time of year. I will say, I don't want to be on a soapbox and be depressive, but I get emails almost every week from store owners that are this close or are closing their doors. And nobody needs to give Amazon any more money.
Right.
Okay? Seriously.
Well, and let me say this about the things that are not included in the 15% off sale. That's because those items are already discounted that much or more. So you're not missing out.
No,
it's like we're going to give you the best of the deal.
Yeah. I mean, it's like and it's mostly in-store stuff. It's our bargain bin stuff. That's in store, which that stuff's more like 40% off.
Yeah.
And we don't have it on the website because it's like one thing left,
It's more work to put it on the website than it is to...
It's more hassle.
Yes.
And then gift cards. Okay.
Well,
that's kind of
we
obvious.
Can't discount gift cards.
That's the main thing. I'm not supposed to say it, but this stuff... We didn't say anything.
The yarn.
The yarn.
The yarn. The yarn.
That yarn. This yarn. That yarn. Ooh. Ooh. Woo! So yes, before we all go crazy, please buy it.
And how long does this sale last?
Through the
Sharon?
end of the year.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we don't have to
Because
count
we
until
don't wanna-
January 1st.
Yes.
So. And the last thing I want to do after a long flight is count inventory.
I was about to say.
I don't know that it's that long of a flight. I mean, I've done
No, it's
22-hour flights
I was about
before,
to say,
so
you're
this
not
is
having
not
a long
much.
flight. But yes, come January 1st rolls around, everyone in here will be sad-faced with clipboards going, yeah. So, welcome to the joys of being a store owner. But yes, we'd like to get rid of as much as possible so that we don't have to count and pay more taxes on it, because that's the reality,
Right.
unfortunately.
And then we can jauntily go in. So this is my word for today. is
Jaunty,
jaunty.
yes.
Yes, ish. Jaunty-ishly go into the new year. In the spirit of Christmas,
Yes.
however you celebrate, whatever holidays you celebrate, whether it's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, just embrace them all.
Advent, Yule.
All the things. We want you to have a most wonderful holiday season.
Yes, sorry, I threw out Advent and Yule as though they're totally normal. Can you tell I watch a lot of like Norwegian, Danish, Swedish, Finnish, Nordic country podcasts? Because like Yule, everyone celebrates Yule.
Well, and I'm just as guilty because I've been watching a lot on BritBox lately,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to say, well, I think I fancy a different Stitch now. So
Maybe you celebrate Boxing Day.
there we go. Oh,
What?
Boxing Day. I see so many posts about, we don't know what Boxing Day is, but it's Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. Can I do a quick explanation?
Might as well.
And I am not British, but I know you can't tell that by my accent. And I know that that's a revelation that is astonishing most of you. However, Boxing Day was established, I think, back in England. It may have been totally through Europe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But it's basically where the wealthy would literally box up their leftover food and items from their holiday celebrations and give it to the poor. So that's where Boxing Day originated. So it's really a holiday celebrating the giving back or giving to the less fortunate or sharing your particular wealth, whatever that is, whether it be food, objects, friendship, joy, all those things. So anyway, there's my TED Talk on Boxing Day. Fancy that.
Okay, as she's going to slip into her British accent that is...
Oh, we don't want that, do we? And I don't know why if I try to speak British it becomes nasal. I don't know. I have no clue. Don't even tempt me with Bulgarian.
Oh, God.
No.
Well, I think we need to open the store because it is Saturday and people are going to be like, what is going on?
What is going on here?
So,
yes.
And we're going to just devolve into a hot mess express if we haven't already.
Speaking of hot mess,
Okay.
like I said, the 10-degree change in temperature, I think it's happened.
I hope you stuck around. And if you did, we will continue into the new year with some more podcasts. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy anything. Boxing Day, Yule Tide, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all the things.
All the things.
And
Celebrate
we will
Tuesdays.
Celebrate Tuesdays. I mean, why not?
Why not?
We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.